Male privilege. We need to dissolve the boundaries that suppress women. It is very important for women to be able to compete in a patriarchal environment, especially feminist women. We need to help and support them all the way to the construction job sites where we don't see the delusional, ever-popular vision of half women and half men. University campuses have been progressively more leftist-leaning since the 1970s. People are tired of seeing ideological headlines like Oxford University extends exam times for women's benefit, coupled with absurd mansplaining accusations. Years of government subsidizing the ideological overlay of postmodernism, infiltrating campuses to be re-education centers, brainwashing the privileged into a sad state of victimhood. When pushback occurs, it is met with fear-mongering from the Holy Alliance between the administrators and the radicals. As universities become ever more expensive and more students rely on bigger student loans, the business of education spirals ever deeper into obsolescence. Safe spaces for students from China, where animals die in zoos due to being pelted with stones by visitors. While women are often seen as sex objects, men are often seen as success objects. Women and children first, because men are expandable. Men get a statue or a place in a history book as a bribe to die, basically. It takes a special kind of narcissism to sit in a climate-controlled office building or stand on stage in front of an audience and declare that the people, men, who maintain the whole shebang are in the way. An engineered obsolescence of men by institutional policies that prioritize women's participation in school and work. When a 6-year-old girl hits a boy the same age and he hits back in retaliation, the system intervenes and punishes the boy. It is systematic oppression. You may disagree there is any difference in punishment between the genders upon first reading this, but the more closely you examine this scenario, the more you may find it to be very, very valid. Another point worth considering is in straight relationships where the contribution between the couple is imbalanced or very imbalanced. A man provides for his mooching girlfriend and not a feather is ruffled by onlookers. But now imagine the swift family intervention if the genders were reversed. Logically and scientifically, men are less necessary for the survival of the species. But on the other hand, in the historical and abstract side, we see that whenever women are liberated, civilization takes a sharp turn to the left, over the guardrail and into the culvert. As women become more emancipated, the government becomes the daddy and the family goes ever more to hell. The future of feminism is an oxymoron. See a great short video at iLearn.tw/feminist collapse and let it all sink in. The idea of a men's rights group talking about their problems is misogyny and automatically thought to promote violence against women. It is about policing thought and speech. This is dangerous for obvious reasons. Somehow the idea of only men getting together to talk is more dangerous than only women and needs to be intercepted. Feminists base their whole ideology on portraying women as the victim in every situation. If there is no victimhood, their ideology would die off. Their whole belief structure is around demonizing men. A shout out to all the male taxi drivers who have endured the nightmare of a loudmouth, usually white, bossy woman giving directions on how to drive the right way and treating them like crap. A free society is where everyone is allowed to speak, and competition between ideas will determine which prevail. Only 10% of Germans agreed with the Nazis, and of course the other 90% were forbidden from speaking their dissent. Only 10% to keep those competing ideas hush-hush. It is rather startling to consider how everything you wholeheartedly agree with actually is in that forbidden dissent category, right? Cringeworthy. Sperm count in men is down 60% since the 70s. Sperm counts and testosterone levels are plummeting enormously. One study found a 30% decline in testosterone in 40-year-old men. Men in utero are particularly weak compared to girls, and we all know that boys have been subjected to a barrage of chemical warfare, from BPA to the atrazine herbicide making frogs disappear around the world. We've known about this and seemingly ignored it. Lower testosterone results in depression, lethargy, weight gain, and lower cognitive ability. Nothing like this has ever happened to a population this big. So you would think we'd want to know why. But it's considered a fringe topic in the mainstream media, where they'd rather talk about pubic hair grooming preferences among women than to be woken from their stupor. Vehemently and persistently disagreeing with a feminist leaves her in fear for her safety, and you could be looking at 6 months in jail time. The idea of someone eager to silence dissent in public office or political authority should send goose pimples standing on the back of your neck. Feminism defines man as a privileged class and every male hardship as a side effect of men's hatred towards women. And this simply is not so. It's the nature of power to seek to preserve itself. Many people will lament on how horribly unkind this sounds. Kindness is the excuse that social justice warriors use when they're trying to exercise control over what others think and say.